Welcome back to the Human Nexus podcast. My name is Andrew Brazis. I am a marketing and business consultant and private chef.
Welcome back. My name is Miss Laura Machiste. I am a YouTube Tower reader, online holistic massage therapist, and energy coach. And today we have a guest. We have Bree here from Baltimore. She owns Be Nailed It. Welcome, Bree. We're so excited to have you on today and hear your story. Can you tell us a little bit more about you, your spiritual background, how you get into all of this stuff?
Hi, yes. I've always been a little different. Like growing up, I've always felt things, seen things, and I kind of just always said to myself like I was the black sheep. I thought I was crazy. Until I branched out and met other people who also have experiences, and then one of the reasons why I'm here today, my story led me to my now spiritual advisor that let me know, hey, you're not crazy. You're actually just really sensitive to, to the energies around you. So, yeah, that's pretty much me. Very sensitive, very open.
And you're a Leo, right?
Yep, I am. I am a Leo. Say it again.
What's your other placement?
I am a Virgo moon, a Libra rising, and a Cancer Venus.
Interesting. I'm also a Leo. So,
Oh, hey,
yeah.
Leo, and I have a Leo moon and Mars, but
okay.
not a Leo sun. My sister's a Leo sun, though.
We have big personalities.
I like it. I've gravitated to Leos all of my life. So when I started YouTube and it happened that way, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah,
So it
makes
was
sense.
just kind of in the senses. Same thing with you. I also felt crazy most of my life, too.
Mhm.
So, what is your biggest spiritual story that you feel like people need to know and is beneficial for people to understand about spirituality and the other side and messages, synchronicities, messages from angels, stuff like that?
Okay, so I'm gonna try to make this like not so long story, but to start out with, before my father passed away, we were very close. And I mean really close, like he was the only person that ever understood me close. And he passed away, and I actually did see him one time after he passed. But recently he passed in 2004. 3 years ago I was with a close friend of mine, and we got into like a small fender bender, but it was small, but it shouldn't have been small. All of the impact happened on my side, so I was in the front passenger seat, and all of the impact happened on my side where the car caved in, but I was fine. And the way that I can explain it is, on the moment of impact I felt sucked into my seat, and I was like, this is weird. When I should have been propelled forward, I was sucked into my seat. I was like, well, okay, whatever. So we made it out fine. I go home. I get a call from her about 4 hours later, and she was like, hey, Bree, do you have a father that passed away? And I was like, yeah, this is weird. Yeah, I do. So she was like, girl, he came through my reading. At this time, I had no idea that she got readings, anything like this. We've never had this conversation. So I'm like, what do you mean my father came through your reading? And she was like, your father stopped my reading. To my spiritual advisor told me to, well, she said the girl that does my readings told your father told her to tell you he saved your life. And I was like, wow. So mind you, I got off the phone, I was crying hysterically, and I we never spoke about it again. She was like,
Wow.
yeah, go, I get readings, and that was it. I did not know the lady's name. I didn't know anything about her. I just need you to know she told me nothing other than the message she gave me. For a whole year, the lady had been on my mind. I didn't know what she looked like. I've never heard her voice, anything, but I'd been so connected to her throughout like that year. One day I was like, called my friend, and I was like, hey, I need your lady's information. So I called, I'm sorry, my dog is moving behind me. I called and I made an appointment with her. Come to find out, she and I, not only do we look alike, we have the same exact birthday. I am a Libra rising, she's a Libra moon. We have a lot in common, right? So I had my first phone interview with her, I was telling her, I was like, my dad sent me to you. Like, this is so crazy. And we connected, like vibed. My father came through every single reading immediately. So to get where the real story is at, so about a year after that, I was in a terrible accident on December 20th, 2023. I was sitting at a red light. The light turned green. I looked both ways. There was no vehicle coming. I need you to understand, there was not another car coming. All of a sudden, I put my foot on the gas, barely. go through the red light or go through my green light, and a car comes barreling down on my driver's side, hits me, and I drove a really big truck. I drove an Escalade. This car was it was like a small coupe of some sort. Anyways, the police said they were going about 130 miles. Hit
Wow.
me, spinned my truck, and the best way that I can explain it is it goes against the laws of physics. Like, it doesn't make sense the way that my truck ended up where it ended up. I bypassed everybody walking down the street and somehow ended up perfectly parked on the side of the road. I climb out the back seat because I had to climb because my door was knocked in. I had to climb, jump out through the back seat out the window. When I get out and I see my vehicle, I'm like, wow, how did I just survive this? Mind you, I was fine. Nothing was bleeding, nothing was broken, nothing. I do have like a mark on my face and I have a small mark on my thigh, but other than that, nothing was wrong with me. And I start to look around my vehicle, like my hood is up, the tires are blown, the tire is rolling down the street. I drove a regular size Escalade, but it was smushed. Like, I shouldn't have survived this accident, right? So I remember looking around the vehicle. I was not wearing a seatbelt. Again, upon impact, I was sucked into my seat. And I was like, somebody saved me. So as I'm looking around the vehicle, every single airbag in my truck that could have, there was airbags in places in the truck I didn't even know there were. On the opposite side of the vehicle that was never touched, every single airbag deployed. The only airbag in that truck that didn't go off was my steering wheel, which would have killed me instantly. I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. So I go home and I call my spiritual advisor. And I was like, somebody saved me. Who did it? That's all I said to her. That was literally my sentence. Wait, somebody saved me. Who did it? She said, Bree, your father immediately came through and she was like, I'm in the seat, Bree. I see him. He's showing me exactly what he did. He said you were really paying attention, but it was okay because it wasn't like still wasn't my fault. I was in my mind. And she
Mhm.
was like, your father showed me he jumped in the driver's seat. And mind you, I told her no details. She said he jumped in the driver's seat and guided your truck and parked it on the side of the road, bypassed every single vehicle because the way that it hit me, I should have been pushed into oncoming traffic, but I wasn't. I was perfectly parked. And I was like, Whitney, wow. And she told me everything. Like, she was like, Bree, you were knocked out. And I remember when I was sitting there in the driver's seat, like, I know I gave a sped up version, but when I was in the driver's seat, I had an outer body experience. I'm sitting in the passenger seat looking at myself like, B, you got to get up. Like, B, you got to get up. Like, I have three daughters. And I'm like, you got to get up. Like, you have to go get those girls from school. You have to get up. And I kept talking to myself. And then eventually I snapped out of it. And that's when I jumped out and I did everything. And she was like, Bree, you keep saying that you were saved because of your daughters. And she was like, no, like you have a child coming that's like going to be this massive impact to the spiritual community. That is one of the reasons why you're still here. And I'm like,
Whoa.
what? Wow. And she just she's been telling me that for a while. But anyway, so, I get out of the car and when I called her and she told me all of this, she was like, Bree, like the guys that hit you, they fled. I know that, but I was kind of in and out of it because I had just gotten into a massive accident. But one of the guys, so it was three guys in the vehicle. One of them, when I hit the ground, when I climbed out the window, I kind of passed out and came back to. He had ran back to the truck to get whatever he was getting. I don't know what he was getting, but and I'm like, what is going on? He was like, I don't know what's going on. Long story short, we end up going to court. They caught him on the scene and he was like, who was that man standing next to you? And I'm like, there was no man with me. What are you talking about? He was like the man that was driving the truck. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like at this point, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm fussing, I'm cussing, because I'm like, sir, you almost took my life and you left me on the side of the road. I thought he was the driver. He wasn't the driver. Apparently he caught a hack. So in Baltimore, they say caught a hack. Like if you're standing on the side of the road and you want somebody to pick you up, like you'll pay them and they'll give you a ride. So he was like, that's what it was. He caught a hack from the grocery store, and he was in the back seat. And he said he saw the driver like not stop when he saw me. And he said he saw a man driving my truck. Like I was driving the truck. There was no man in the truck. So I was just like, this is so crazy to me. So that's like the sped up version of my story. And she was like, your father just keeps saving you. And I know if it wasn't for him, I would not be here.
I have goosebumps during your story,
Yeah.
like at least 3 times. So that is like my confirmation of the feelings. I'm like, I don't know if I have words. Andrew, you
Yeah,
don't feel
no,
any
I think that's really interesting. Do you have like during your outer body experience, did you feel like you saw your father? Like, did you feel his presence? Did you anything?
No. So
Nothing.
the only thing that I can say, the two accidents that I had where I know for a fact he saved me, it was just the same thing. Like I can't explain it. It's almost like a vacuum seal, and I'm
Mm,
being sucked back in. And the first time when I was with my friend, I had no idea what that was. But this time when it happened, I was like, oh,
mm,
okay. And then it was like a peaceful drift off to sleep. So I knew my father. He's actually sitting right here. My father is, I don't know if I can show you guys, but my father is actually sitting right here. So and then that's another thing I can tell you about that. But I just knew it was him. So when I
Mhm.
went to her and I was like, what, somebody saved me, who was it? I already knew it was my dad because again, that like feeling of just being wrapped
mm,
up. And my dad, before he passed away, I was a child. Long story short, I didn't see my father because I ended up having to move because he was so sick. So my last physical in-person contact with my father before him dying, I was a smaller child and it would always feel like being wrapped up. Like when he would hold me or when he would hug me, that's the best way that I can describe it because my father was a big man. He was a Marine. He was like 6 feet tall, like 260. He was a big guy. So when he would just hug me, it would just be like, like, oh,
Mhm.
so I feel that often. Every time I'm at a situation where I know I'm not the safest, I feel that. And so that's like how I know he's here. And then when I do ask him, because I'll be like, hey, dad, are you here? I do get chills. And that is my confirmation that, he's near me. But at that time, no, I didn't see him, but I knew he was there.
yeah, and I think it's also like to add to that, like having the confirmation from like outside perspectives of like there's a man in the car, and you're like, no, there's not.
Yeah,
Like that's wild, but
crazy.
also, yeah, it's so good. To like
Yeah,
I don't know,
definitely.
like it makes you. I'm sure it makes you feel not crazy. Like you know that, but
Right. Oh, see, and I have a little altar over here to the
Mhm.
side, and my father's pictures over here, and I have these little faux flowers, like these little fake flowers, and they just tipped over. So he's definitely here. He's
Yeah,
Yeah.
always here, though. He's always here.
yeah, that's
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely insane and also really cool that the same sensation he gives you, like
Hmm.
knowing that it's him, knowing that he's there. At what age were you specifically? Like before 10 years old, or were you in the teen age when he passed on?
He passed in '04. I graduated in did he pass in 2004? He passed in, I want to say he passed in 2004. I graduated in 2006. So I was about 15, 14 or 15 when he died.
So there is like this pivotal moment of, coming out of the adolescent age and moving into, thinking on your own and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if that has to do with your gift and your spiritual awakening to where, since he's such a strong catalyst for you spiritually as an adult, that that might have been his soul's mission almost of like being
Yeah.
that person for you and you spiritually awakening at such um a young age. And I feel like when you really start thinking for yourself at those moments, that's when I started to see weird things happen as well, like 11 to 13.
Mhm.
So that's interesting that he passed on around that time for you, giving you the sense of you kind of really have no choice but to find the connection when those things happen at so early in life. You like feel the comfort
Yeah.
almost.
It's definitely
Oh.
comforting. It's not just me though. I have my youngest two daughters are twins, they're identical twins, and they have a gift also. My spiritual advisor was telling me, she was like, Bree, I know that this is gonna sound crazy, but she was like, now this is a funny story with them as well. She was like, I don't know if it's like they were lovers in a past life or they were the same person, like they were one person in a past life. And I told her, I was like, it's crazy because when I was 5 weeks pregnant with the twins, I didn't know I was having twins. I had one baby in my stomach. legit one baby. I had an ultrasound. It was only one baby. I went back the next day because I thought I was having a miscarriage. But in reality, London, my oldest twin, was splitting on the last day she could have split, or else they would have been conjoined twins. So I was like, what is crazy you say that? Because they were legit one person in my stomach and split into two. And she was like, their powers like work together. She was like, their energy is like London can hear it and feel it, and Asia can see it. That's my other twin. And I was like, that's exactly how I can watch them. They're very sensitive. And it's just like one of them is like, Mom, I saw something and I don't know what this is. And my other daughter was like, wow, that's what I felt. And it's just, it's a lot of energy going on in this house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It definitely, we're all very sensitive. And it's like, it's a blessing for me to have my dad. He was monumental in my life when he was here. But what he's given me since passing is greater than he could have ever gave me while he was on this earth. That's the best way that I can describe it. And to be able to have him and help me navigate through life, I'm hoping that I can give to my daughters so they don't feel like outcasts. Like, hey, you guys aren't crazy. It's really stuff going on, and to be able to help them to be more confident within themselves. Because I feel like I could have probably been far greater at this point, in whatever my gifts are, had I had somebody to guide me when I was their age, and they're 13.
There it is, the pivotal age, that age right there from 11 to 13, 14, 15. There's something about that
Mhm.
time where they really start to either realize, okay, wait, I'm different, things are
Mhm.
weird. And that's awesome that you have that, because now you are that person in asking them those questions like, what are you feeling? What do you feel like your purpose is? And those are the things like I wish was asked to me as a younger child, which maybe you also resonate with. Like,
Mhm.
why didn't anybody ask me those questions so I could really think about it and maybe give me
Right.
an answer of what I felt or where I came from? So they chose you as their mother for a reason. The souls choose who they go through. So
Right.
there is probably some really pivotal mission and purpose that they're supposed to live through being your children. And that's also really beautiful as well, having that family connection in the physical as well as on the other side.
Right.
Are
And I'm
you
grateful.
doing are you doing anything outside of the nail tech to facilitate, like the spiritual gifts? Like, are you like reading tarot? Are you doing
I
astrology or
do. I
yeah?
do read tarot a little bit. It's something that I'm still kind of getting used to. I've had a couple of very weird situations happen, and I feel like it's kind of made me shy away from it just
Hmm.
because I don't want to invite anything that shouldn't be here. And I don't it's funny that you asked me that because I kind of feel like there's a negative presence trying to force me to stop because I know I'm
Hmm.
powerful, right? I know I am. I can sit here and tell you guys a million things that I've sat here and it's just like, oh, that would be nice. And then boom, it happens. Or, like, wow, like what if I, reach this and then it happens? Or I think about somebody and they call me and I haven't talked to this person in 20 years type. So it's like, I know that my mind is powerful. And I feel like I'm just a little, it's a word I'm looking for and I can't think of it. I feel like it's a fear. It's a fear
Hmm.
there to branch out further. I
Yeah.
want to, but it's just like, maybe not.
Yeah. Because when you open up to those energies in general, it's kind of like protecting yourself at the same time of trying to pay attention to what's coming in, at the same time
Hmm.
of trying to make sure it's not something that you feel uncomfortable with. And I could totally resonate with that as well, because a lot of the times I don't know how I know, and some things I don't really want to know. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm good off of that. You don't have to, I didn't need to know that. So there could definitely be that connection to you having that strong gift. And light and dark exist as one. So that light coming through in your energy, you're going to be faced with that like uncomfortable or the fear, that darkness. And
Hmm.
like even some days like Andrew even says, like I don't read tarot every day. I can't, because it would just bring me in that energy of moving forward towards figuring out am I crazy? What did I
Right.
channel? Is this real? Is this right? But it's really weird that your name is Nailed It,
Hmm.
because in the suite that I'm in, we just had when I first moved in, the girl next to me was Chell's Nailed It.
Oh, wow.
And just last night, she wrote to me. She moved out because she got so successful that she has her own storefront now. And she just wrote to me last night and asked me, I'm going crazy right now. What's going on with the planets? Like I need just some sort of guidance. And I was just like, hello. And now here you are, and you're also Nailed It. So I'm like, is there
Yeah,
some type of connection going on right now?
that's dope.
And
I like that.
and to go with what Andrew mentioned as well, of like asking you if you're living out that spiritual gift and like reading tarot or anything like that, do you find that through your business you align with certain people that need to hear what you have to say or just need your energy and you're like, someone sent you to me?
So all the time, all of my clients refer to me as a therapist, and it's not just because of nails. I can't explain to you how I can go anywhere. I can go outside and walk my dog, and somebody comes up to me and it's just like, "Wow, have you ever heard of da 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 da?" And then all of a sudden, they're expressing their light to me, and they're just like, "I just feel so much better." And I that's been a thing my entire life, and it's crazy how I can sit with somebody and they feel better. Like they say that my energy cleanses them, but then I'm stuck with all of the crap you just dropped off on me. Like you like kind of like the movie The Green Mile. It's like I'm sucking, your energy out and I'm filtering it and I'm making you feel better. But when you leave, I'm just like, ugh, like
Mm-hmm.
I got to get rid of this. I have to. Then that's when I learned about grounding yourself and your energy.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. There's so much I don't know about this, which is why I try to limit my involvement with it because I don't want to be out here mixing and mingling and I don't know what I'm doing. And then, like I said, I've now invited in those energies that I don't want here. But yeah, people always tell me that they're just drawn to me. Like I heal them and they just feel wonderful and again, I just end up feeling very yuck.
Right.
Which I think is very normal for people who have like spiritual gifts. I mean, the like coming in and helping, like, I mean, like your presence is healing and people
Yeah.
resonate to that. But then like the draining aspect and like taking on that negative energy from experience, like I intentionally release. And I try to do this with the moon cycles, but sometimes
Mhm.
that's not enough, so I have to do it on extra. And that's literally just like either writing it down or just out loud saying, okay, this energy is not mine. I'm letting it go into the universe or wherever. So like performing, and this might be helpful and it might not, but like for me, performing these rituals to like let go of these things allows me more capacity to like be in the spaces where people need me, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, I need to work on doing that more regularly.
And you specifically, kind of like what I do, you're focusing on the hand chakra. So
Mhm.
like our hands are constantly touching things, whether it's touching our phone or touching a laptop or touching people or touching other things. So I'm sure you wear gloves some of the times or
Mhm.
all of the times, but they're not because they have to, get everything done.
Right.
So it's like you're taking off their layer of dead skin or dead nail bed and re-putting
Mhm.
on. So you're also energetically cleansing them at the same time of like physically removing things that
Mhm.
like dead skin cells, they are still energy, whether they're
Right.
from a nail bed or from a piece of skin. And you actually like holding on to their hand chakra, I can only imagine what you're absorbing half the time.
Everything. And it honestly, like I have had a client or two that I've had to fire because when you leave, it's just like I don't there was a lady that came, I think she came maybe twice and I couldn't like I had to cancel her next appointment which would have been the third because I'm just like I can't do this. Like she left and I've never been a depressed person, but when she left it was so like everything was just dark and the sun wasn't shining and I felt worthless and I was just like it has to be this lady. And the whole entire time she was here, that was her vibe. She was very depressed and very, even when she was speaking about great things, she just had like this cloud over top of her. And I was
Mm.
like, yeah, I can't do this. Like
Good for
I
you though, knowing
cannot.
your boundary.
I'm grateful for that because that's something that I learned at a later age because I would normally just take whatever anybody would just give me. And that had a lot to do with trauma growing up. And I would just take it. Like, you're here, whatever. I don't have a choice. Like, I have to, take this off of you. But now it's just like, no, I can't. Like, if you make me feel, and it's weird because I feel like the way that I get things is like a taste. And this is going to probably sound strange, but I taste almost like a headache. And everybody's like, what does that even mean? But I can't explain it. When something comes around me that I know is not supposed to be, I can't see it, I can't smell it, but it's like I get this taste in the back of my mouth that tastes like a headache is coming. And I'm like, yep, nope. Shut everything down. This is not where I'm supposed to be. This is not who I'm supposed to be around. And it's just like I've let that kind of guide me. And that's the best way I can describe her. When she was around me, I was like, yeah, nah, I can't.
The body knows. The
Mhm.
Yeah.
body knows. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's very true too, and it manifests for everybody differently. So it's so good
Hmm.
that you're like intentionally aware of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's probably huge for your kids. Like,
Yeah.
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 You're not
Yeah.
bringing that energy back home because people will do anything for a dollar nowadays. So the fact that you're like, no, you make me feel weird. I don't need that in my business. I don't need that in my space. And you set that boundary. Now, some of the times people are scared to do that because of people's reactions. Do you mind saying maybe what her reaction was? Were you able to like handle
Well,
that?
so I don't care. And maybe that's the Leo side of me.
There you go.
And I try to be as nice about it because I know I have a big personality. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to, so my salon is actually in the basement of my home. So that's an extra
Mhm.
layer of you're not about to play with me. You're not about to
Yep.
play with my space. If I don't like the way you make me feel, my home is my children's sanctuary. Like the safest place on earth for them is this house. And you're not going to play with that. So I
Mhm.
don't care how anybody feels about it. I don't care if you blast my business. I don't care if you make me lose money. I'm not, when it comes to these kids, I'll lose my life protecting them. Even just their them to be able to feel comfortable moving around in their space. So
Mhm.
you messing up the energy in here, we can't. I can't. So I just let her know and I was like, I do wish you the absolute best, but I don't vibe with you. And you leave my home feeling not so great. I don't
Right.
remember my exact words to her because this was like maybe 6 years ago, but I did, I wanted to be very clear and honest so that she didn't attempt to make an appointment moving forward. Like you and I, it's something inside of us that don't go together. And I can't have it around me.
That's amazing. Because some people, they would just do it to do it, and they would allow that energy and just wonder why things feel dark without having that awareness and then
Right.
constantly going crazy.
Yeah, I
Do you,
can't.
since your workplace is in your basement, do you like do anything to like cleanse the space, like energetically, like burning
So
sage or?
I don't burn sage. I should. I have it. I should
Mhm.
burn it. But I have three altars in my house
Mhm.
and there's crystals everywhere. There's crystals where you can see them, where you can't see them. There's constant incense being lit. I feel like all day, even now while I'm sitting here, I'm constantly asking for protection. I'm constantly asking for energy to be cleared. And it's gotten to the point where I've reduced my clientele to where, although I would love at more business, my current clientele is where I feel safe, where I feel like my home is safe, where I feel like energy is protected. So, I'm just constantly asking, constantly cleansing, just trying to. And then another thing, I've had clientele where I felt safe with and then something changed and then I've had to let them go, so it's always like a revolving door, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
My energy and protecting not just my energy but protecting myself, because I've
Mhm.
learned that I am a tool in people's lives. Like I said, with people gravitating towards me, I am a tool for people to come and cleanse themselves through. And so I'm constantly trying to make sure that I'm aware of what's going on just to make sure we don't have any problems.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
And I feel
great.
like that's a great takeaway as well, because a lot of business owners, they bend backwards. They're giving people like 60% of their effort, whatever type of job. Those business owners that actually say, like, look, I know I can only take this amount of people a day. This is what makes me feel comfortable. This is what's going to make sure I give people 100%. That's such like good, like not only business wise, but like spiritual hygiene as
Hmm.
well. Because it really, you will stand out even to your regular clients. So it's just like, I always feel like I get that 110% from you. You like, because you know what your energy needs and what it doesn't need, which is absolutely like totally different than how a lot of people go through society, which makes sense. The spiritual people
I had to
need to
learn that
know it.
though. I had to learn
Yeah.
it because when I first started, well, not when I first started doing nails, but when the pandemic hit, I was working, I was taking on a bunch of clients because, shops, everything was closed down. So I was working from like 5 a.m. to sometimes I didn't take my last client until 11 p.m. And we were on like 2 hour staggered appointments. And then I'm just realizing, like, at this point, I'm like a zombie and there's a whole bunch of people coming in, but it's not meaningful. And I
Mm,
for a while I felt like I'm worried about the wrong things. When it got to the point where I was like, I don't like the way this person makes me feel, but that's a hundred and something dollars that I'm letting go. But I had to realize, like, somehow, some way, I'm gonna make sure my girls are taken care of because I can't be good to them. And that's how I raised them also. There are things far greater in this world than money. As long as you got
mm,
enough to pay your bills, I can't be hyper focused on that. I just need to make sure they're good. And I can teach them how to make money. You can get a job. It's easy. Go get a job, pay your bills. I need to give you something greater than that. So I had to realize, like, no, I don't feel so good. And when I don't feel good, I can't be the greatest mom to them. And like I said, my children they can feel. So although I
mhm,
have this smile on my face, I'm just like, oh, hey, everything is great. They'd be like, Mom, something, mm-mm, like, do you need anything, Mom? Like, something is, so I was just like, you know what? My children are spiritually aware, like very aware. And that's when I started to be like, you know what? Mm-mm, we're only taking clients. I don't care what you offer me. I'd have people that I did not like be like, I'll pay you double. If you can pay me double, you can go find another nail tech. So clearly, money is not a problem. You can go find somebody else. Like,
mhm,
I don't move for money, if that makes sense. So
And
I
and
guess
I
it's
think
what?
doing that, when you live like that, it opens up so much more energy, just like in your life, like being authentic to how you
Yeah,
actually feel, and you make more space for the things you want. So I like good
I
for you for
agree.
doing that. Like, it's huge. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
big.
and that's part of like the scarcity mindset that I tried to get people to understand. It's not just like a one way type of thinking. Like that
Hmm.
right there is saying indirectly, well, if I don't say yes to this person, then there goes that money. And it's like, but you still can be abundant without it and still feel like you will get that back in some way, shape, or form. That plus
Hmm.
$200 that you said no to will come in a more authentic and high vibrational way that makes you
Absolutely.
feel good. So that is I resonate so much with your story in terms of like
Thank
business and
you.
how you went about it. I had the same exact thing where I had to teach myself, like, I need to give people my 100%. I'm not going to overwork. I don't want to be too tired, but it had to be learned. And that's just like so amazing and truly like inspiring for people that are like listening to this right now that maybe want to do something that's in that same position or something that,
Yeah.
because like even though it's not um I'm spiritual and I'll do your nails, they know what they're getting from you. And sometimes people like they may just be like, I just needed to see you today. Talking to
And
you
that's
makes me feel
happened.
so much better. Yeah. And
But
you can
see,
get that.
I don't wear that on my sleeve though.
Right.
You have to be pretty close to me to even be able to know that I can see, feel, hear, just, that's not something that it's intimate for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
not something I'm ashamed of, but it's also not something that I'm broadcasting. And it's like I keep getting told, like, you're Bree, you're supposed to be reading tarot, you're supposed to be practicing, you're supposed to be, and it's like, okay, that's fine. If eventually the universe will force me into it if I'm supposed to be doing it. But as far as like where I'm at right now, it's super, super intimate to me. So I don't people probably don't even know why they're drawn to me. I know now, I know, but they don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and trusting your intuition there, like jumping into, I don't know, like spiritual practices for other people. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily need to do it in a way that's like, I don't know, the normal tarot or, I'm
Mhm.
trying to think of some other things, but like you just holding the space for people, like,
Yeah.
like when they come through the door and like you can improve their lives, even with those like conversations, like you're doing it and you know you're doing it,
Yeah.
which is like, I don't know. I think that's enough for most people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like it's enough for me. I'm curious about a lot of things, but like I said, with I guess within moderation, I always tell people that I have a lot of love in my chart. Um, and that's something that I learned here recently, but my entire life, the only thing that has mattered to me in this world is genuine love. Like that's why it's so easy for me to set boundaries when it comes to money because I really don't care about it. As long as my girls are taken care of, like the rest will come, a more comfortable life, or we aren't uncomfortable, like we'll be fine. But to me it's like, when you leave me, how do you feel? Like I really very much care about breathing life into people that I connect with. Like I don't care about all this other stuff because at the end of the day, you can have $1 million and you can be a clown. Like you can have $1 million and you can have like a black heart. Like I don't care about that. Money doesn't move me. Like I want love. I want real love, and I want to always be love in other people's life. So that's just kind of like the basis of me. And that's what I'm trying to teach my children. Like, you should always be a light in people's life. And if, you are surrounded by people who aren't a light in your life, don't let that dim your light. You still give them love and light, and you get away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's so good.
that's what it
That
is.
is so good.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
so
gosh,
good.
Thank
Bree, you
you.
are amazing.
Thank you.
Uh, well, I do have one question
Okay.
for you. Or maybe it's an open-ended question. Have you asked your children any specific questions? Do you see any type of similarities within them that you also felt as that age? Do you
Absolutely.
have you are you still quote unquote awaiting that new pregnancy that spiritual advisor mentioned could happen?
Yeah, so not currently pregnant. But
Okay.
yeah, I am. She actually just had a meeting with her the other day and she was like, Bree, there's pregnancy around you. I just feel pregnancy around you. Like I just
Leo's
feel
been
it.
getting that a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been in
And
the
I'm just
energy.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's crazy because the guy that I've been dating for a while, he's a Leo also. And
Oh.
I'm just like, geez, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But as far as my children are concerned, I do. I asked them, like, I was like, hey, do you guys ever feel like you see, feel, hear, know? And they were like, Mom. So my daughter, one of my twins, real quick, was like, yeah, Mom. Like, if I wake up and I'd be like, I feel like we're gonna have a pop quiz today. Boom, she said they have pop quizzes in every class at school, or every what am I trying to say, like
Period.
every period. Yes.
Mhm.
So then she was like, Mom, I felt one day like something was going to happen to my teacher and police were going to be called. She told me that. A week later, her teacher, and this is my youngest twin, a week later, her teacher, one of the students like stole something out of her purse and the police were called. And she's like, Mom, I told you. And so stuff like that happens all the time. It
I
just,
love that. I
it's
love that
every
because
day.
that really makes me feel less crazy from when I was growing up, because I was the exact same way. I would wake up and I'd be like, I don't know, I feel like this will happen. And then everyone would just look at me like I had like a Medusa head. And then it would
Hmm.
happen and they'd be like, oh, yeah, she did say that. And I'm like, where's my credit for saying that?
Never get credit. I remember my
Right.
sister just about like maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. She was up for a promotion at work and she was like, I didn't get it. And I was like, you got it. And she's like, I did not get it. They told me I didn't get it. So then she got a call and she's like, I'll be right back. And she was like, I got the job. I told you you got it. Like, even after they told her she didn't get it, I was like, that doesn't feel right. You got
Hmm.
the job. And she's like, Bree, they sent me the letter. I got the email. I didn't get it. I was like, yo, you got that job. So stuff like that happens, and my children, it happens with them all the time. And like I said, I didn't have that reassurance. I didn't have that safe space when I was younger. So I need to make sure I provide that for them.
Yeah, that's
That makes
amazing.
me feel so good too, like knowing that you are a mother to these children. And I feel like that's what's needed, more spiritually inclined parents to really like ask the kids these questions. Because
Hmm.
when we were growing up, I wish those questions were asked. So now it's like that generation's turn to say, all right, no, we're going to get our kids to give us some answers. We're going to work with them differently and see how things move forward. And you really never know. You could have given birth to a medium or
I
a
think I did. And it's crazy because my children naturally do this. Like they'll write my father. They've never met my father. They'll write my father letters. They will cook, and I come in the living room and my dad got food on top of him. And I always be like, why you put that food on my dad's head? You know, like instead of putting it next to him, like they'll just be like, oh, I feel like grandpa wanted to eat. They put money in his bowl, like, and they do this naturally. They're not guided to do it. And I'm just like, yeah, you guys are onto something.
Yeah,
that's
that's so good.
amazing.
We need so much more of that.
I
So
know, we
yeah,
really
this is
do,
so good.
for sure.
Any closeout statements?
Um, I'm grateful to just share this time with you guys. Like that it I'm really appreciative that you guys chose me to come on and share my story and I don't feel judged. So it's a beautiful space.
Yeah, we love that. That's
That was
good.
the
That's what it's
goal.
for.
Right,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
exactly. Thank you so much for coming on, Bree. I cannot wait to hear from you again in the future. And if you want to connect to Bree, you can find her information down below. And next episode, we will probably maybe have another guest on or
Or we're covering tarot. If you guys have any other experiences like Bree, please share in the comments
Hilarious.
below. That'd be huge and helpful for the community.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Bree. And we'll see you all next
Thank you.
time. Bye.
Bye.